Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. For today's episode, we do have the game here against Moreirense finally. Now I do apologise of course for missing out on a couple of days of recording, but I was ill and so I didn't actually really play the Braga Football Manager save at all, and we did obviously manage to finally catch up, but we look good. We don't look too bad at all. And let me see if I can show you everything in general. Competition wise, so in the Portuguese Premier League, we are in third spot, but we do have 2 games in hand on the teams above us, and you know that actually the same goes for Sporting of course, but we're much closer. So if we do get the 6 points necessary from our 2 games, then we would actually be tied with Porto. The likelihood though is that we would still just only be in second spot, which we can actually do in today's game actually, and the reason being is of course that Porto beat us early in the season. Now the Portuguese Premier League doesn't go in terms of goal difference, if you guys didn't realize. It actually goes on head-to-head judge or criteria, whatever you want to call it, first. So Porto have beaten us, which means they go ahead first. If we've tied for head-to-head points or whatever, then it means only then it would go to goal difference. In the Champions League, of course, just a little recap: we did get knocked out in the playoff by Tottenham, but we have of course gone into Europa League, and we've also managed to reach the first knockout round. So perfect for us. I think strangely enough, the expectations for Europa League was just to reach the group stage, and of course we did that, and the board are very happy that we actually managed to reach the first knockout round as well, so it's perfect. Portuguese League Cup was quite disappointing. We were expected to reach the semi-final, but we only got knocked out in the 3rd phase, and of course that's not too early, but the League Cup is a group stage kind of cup, and then it goes straight into the semi-final. So we got knocked out. We didn't actually manage to qualify. Level on points with the team above us, and they only went ahead on goal difference of +1 more than us. So it was a bit disappointing, but it happens, and it can kind of make the difference between the board being happy and them not being happy. Broval, it seems like they are. Expectations are still qualified for Europa League. We went way ahead in Europa League in terms of stages, and in the Taça de Portugal, we have matched expectations by reaching the 6th round. So overall, things are going not too good for us actually, sorry. It's going okay for us. It's nothing amazing. I think the board, have me down as their best manager possibly, and they're happy with the business we're doing, and I'm happy with them as well. It's just about trying to do better as always, and hopefully today we can do better. But in terms of what happened since the last episode, which did show you the 3-0 defeat of Belenense in the Taça de Portugal 5th round, which was very good to get considering how we lost against them in the Premier League 1-0 away from home. So we managed to back that with another huge result. In terms of scoreline, not so much in terms of a result itself, but 3 points is 3 points, and it set us up perfectly. And we got 4 goals to Alexos is 1. Away from home, of course, televised as well. Danilo getting a brace, Miguel Lorenzo also getting not sent off, sorry, he managed to score an own goal, and Miguel Rosa, our own player, of course, scoring in the 84th minute, just to ease our mind after Tim Ebner scored in the 83rd. So good to round that off with a convincing 4-1 win, and get the 3 points at the end of the day. So against our rivals, Guimarães, we finally, I think this is the first time we managed to beat them in 3 seasons in charge. I think most of the results have been draws between ourselves, but it's just good to see us beat our rivals, and that was in the League Cup 3rd phase group game. And yeah, Santos was the one to score in the 60th minute, and we managed to hold on, so it was good to beat them there. Hopefully we can beat them in the league as well. That's where it counts more. But we did beat Portimonense 1-0 with Miguel Rosa scoring the penalty, and Danilo getting sent off the same minute. Don't even ask me how that happened, but it did happen, and the point was that we got 3 points. That's all that matters really. So this is what cost us. Fabio Martins scored in the 73rd minute to actually give us the lead, and if we managed to hold on, we would have been top of the table and qualified for the semi-final. Unfortunately, even though I mentioned about how we want to do much better in cup competitions, it looks like we got knocked out of one of them, and the only thing left now for us in terms of Portuguese cups is the Taça de Portugal. So hopefully we can go further than the 6th round and maybe even compete and see if we can actually win. So in terms of who else is still in the competition, we've got Rio Ave, Martimo, Portimonense, our rivals Goimeres, Gil Vicente, Chaves, Forense, and ourselves, of course. So none of the big so-called top 3 clubs in Portugal of Sporting, Benfica, or Porto. So we do have a real shot of winning this, having been possibly the biggest team out of these lot, and we should, I think, now be considered favourites for the competition. So after the 6th round of the semi-final and just straight into the final, and we're just a couple wins away from that. So hopefully we can do that and I think pick up a cup that's actually a little bit bigger than the League Cup, I would say. And the winner of that, of course, goes into the Super Taça, so very important. Anyways, today we do have a Primiera Liga game for you though against Moreirense, and hopefully we can get another 3 points against a team who are struggling with relegation, of course. They're trying to get out the bottom rather, and they're on 12 points, so they're not too far off at all from everyone else here. Sporting are kind of disappointing so far. They are level on games with us with 5 points separating us, and suddenly they look like they're not even going to qualify for the Europa League, even though they had a strong start earlier on in the season. It seems to be between ourselves, Benfica and Porto for the Champions League spots, and if we keep it up, that'll be great. But I'm really hoping to put a title challenge in this year. Seriously, last year we had a great start, but and then we had a poor ending. So this year we're trying to look for consistency throughout the board, and hopefully we can do that. It is January, and we haven't actually, it's been a couple of days since I actually did the last sort of episode, so I'm not even sure what's been going on in terms of transfer history. I think these ins aren't actually in January. Nope, none of these are in January, so that's nothing to talk about. Let's see if we can see anything here. No real outs in January either, I think. And in terms of the squad, it looks pretty similar. I don't think there's anything serious going to be going on in January, unless a serious bid comes in for one of our players and then someone gets upset. In terms of promises, yeah, no real promises. Danilo, we've already mentioned him. He's already moved, or going to move rather, actually. His transfer's been already approved is what I'm saying, and he will join Dortmund once his contract ends. We're going to try and squeeze out every bit of talent we can get from this. It's disappointing to miss out on the money, and we were going to, of course, renew his contract, but unfortunately for us, he was upset with us not actually going into the Champions League properly and all that sort of business. We've promised Hassan qualifying for Champions Cup, which I think is quite easily done. But I think we can just go ahead and kick off today's game. We'll talk more about what happened or not what happened, why we selected certain players for this game, and of course, hopefully we can kick off this episode with a great win and 3 points mainly. It's not all about wins, it's all about results when it comes to the league. And when it comes to cup competitions, of course, it's all about results and not about performances. But anyways, we are favourites for today's game, and we expect to climb into 2nd spot. Santos is our key man and Bruno Poliso theirs, and I think that's fair to say. Santos has been a huge player for us. Raniel coming in for Hassan. I think Hassan's actually in the African Cup for now. And we're also missing our right back and left back, so we're kind of short in these areas. It's a bit disappointing, but hopefully Raniel can do a decent job. Santos, first choice right winger. Rossa just playing too well to replace him with Fabio Martins, of course, who actually is our first choice. Still sticking to our 4-3-3 formation of trying to play like Arsenal. So we've got false 9, 2 inside forwards, advanced playmaker, ball winning midfielder, and of course an anchor man as well. And yeah, Joka and Fonte kind of going back and forth between the two for advanced playmaker. They're both kind of same level in terms of ability. It's just that neither can really hold on and sustain their form in that position. Gruezo doing well to overtake Julian Fernandez. Actually, Julian Fernandez is our anchorman. But yeah, Gruezo are actually keeping out Danilo. And the likelihood is that he's just in good form. I don't think I would select him otherwise. Nope, he's been selected, so let me find out why. I think Danilo suspended. So Guerrero has a chance to actually prove his worth and maybe even win over his spot while Danilo misses out on another suspension. Russell taken over from Fernandez. Juankar and Polino are normally our first choice, and the rest goes for Jubal, Rosic and Marathon, of course, the goalkeeper for the Primiera Liga. Moreirense are playing with an interesting formation. They're gonna try and be tough to break down, but hopefully we can still do that. Of course, the likelihood is we're actually gonna have to push up from a counter mentality. But if we can get that early goal and really force them to come out, then that would help us big time. So I don't know. I mean, you can kind of say that they're playing a variation of the 4-3-3. There is actually the 4-2-1-3, which is when they have two wingers here, a striker, two defensive midfielders, and a central midfielder. But they've actually pulled back their wingers, and that makes it even more defensive in the 4-2-3-1 DM. They do have a chance though to make a mark here through scoring rather than defending. So what's Frederick here going to do? Runs all the way to the byline. Are we going to knock him out? Yep, okay, won the ball back, Uri, and then suddenly Renyel's on the counter-attack, 1v2. Is he going to go all the way by himself? Looks like he will, taking on his first centre-back, getting past him. Is he going to score? No, he's actually blocked out by a keeper that came out sweeping, really. I think the keeper didn't rush out there. Renyel will definitely be on the score sheet, but he definitely should be on the score sheet either way. And that should have been Braga 1 and Moreirense 0. Of course, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, they are relegation candidates, so we need to show them that. We need to show them they're nowhere near us in terms of quality, and hopefully we can actually eventually get the result. The likelihood is, of course, that, like I mentioned, they're going to be playing very defensive, and it's going to take something special to break them down. We're away from home, so I'm not necessarily going to tell off our players for not getting the result just yet. It's always a bit tougher away from home, and of course it does a little bit better to tell them that you can do it, you can actually win. Don't believe in yourself, even though you've had all this possession. Because at this point, players in possession will start to become a bit frustrated. Like, why haven't we broken them down yet? We've had clear-cut chances. We've had 13 shots, 6 on target. They've only had 2 shots, none of them on target. We're dominating this game. Why aren't we beating them? So it's important, of course, during these times to actually remain patient and not become frustrated and let that creep into your play. So hopefully we can do that. We're going to look towards our substitutions to make amends. Take off Rosa for Martins, is actually a first choice. He hasn't had a poor game, a bit of a quiet one, but not a poor one for sure. But Fabio Martins, of course, is just the first choice, so it makes sense to take him off for it. Same will be said about Joka. Fonte is the first choice, so it makes sense. He's had a bit of a solid game, but unfortunately for him, just not good enough to actually stay on the pitch. And we'll save our last substitution for Santos when he eventually gets tired. He's a star player for us, of course, so hopefully we can rely on him to hopefully get us a goal or an assist. Then we can sub him off, rest him for the next game. But yeah, if possible, we want to try and keep Renyel, Polino and Juankar as fresh as possible as well, because of course their backup players, or the players that they compete for the same spot rather, are all out on African Cup duty, so we do need to keep them fresh. Santos tired and had a bit of a quiet game, so bring on our final attacking change, and that is Simeão Azevedo, so hopefully he can do something here. And maybe we'll be shown a highlight. We've only gotten one so far, and tempted to do it. Will we go into overload? Do we need overload? Uri, please tell me we don't. Guerrero, what's he going to do here? Fonte, come on, advanced playmaker. Put a good ball into the box. Instead, it's Juankar. And Fabio takes a decent shot. That is definitely a second clear-cut chance, but it looks like it's not going to amount to anything. Ramos fouling Renyel. And is this finally going to be what it takes? Nope. Not with that kind of delivery. Martins, another chance. Jubal. God's sake, punish them. Oh, Fabio, too slow on your feet. Alright, that's fine. Now, normally I would go into overload, but as you can tell here, they're not going into their formation's defending, but they aren't going into defending sort of manner or mentality. So it doesn't make sense to go into overload because they can still punish us. and I'm going to be avoiding that. Hopefully we can do it on control mentality alone. I've noticed that's what happens with the game. Normally it's only when they go into defending where it becomes the right time to actually go into overload and try and nick a result. But otherwise, you can normally do it in control. It doesn't always happen, of course. It looks unlikely to happen in today's game, unless we score within 20 seconds. Maybe we can do that with Fonte here. Reniel takes his man on, loses the ball to Neto instead, and that should be the end of the game. So we had a bit of a boring episode, but and a draw is definitely disappointing, but we still have the chance to climb into second, of course, and I think second still goes automatically into group stages. Let's have a look after the game. I think it's just third that goes into the best place playoff sort of thing that we had to go through earlier on. So if we can get straight into group stages by going into second, that'd be perfect for us, and of course a lot more money as well. Definitely need to tell the players off for not getting a result where expected or when expected, and maybe with better finances we can actually start to invest in our players. So far we've managed to invest in plenty of facilities, improving our facilities. We've done that really well. I think superb training facilities and superb youth facilities is the one level down to the highest. I think the highest is top facilities. So if we do that, we'll be in good shape. Yeah, we're in superb for both. And currently we're actually having the training facilities improved as well. I can't ask for the youth facilities just yet, but if we manage to get both of them as top facilities, then we're set. We won't have to improve on either of them for a while. I think in FM technology changes about every 3 to 5 years possibly, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Of course it always depends on certain situations, but it looks like we won't have to use any more of our money on that, and we can start using it on players instead. In terms of the money itself, if we went all the way, if we really pushed it, we got 10 million, but normally I like to kind of just keep it in the middle but edging towards transfer budget. So that would mean we've got more like 5 million, 5.8 million let's say, with that kind of money you can't do some serious damage. You can't really bring in top players, but with facilities you can also invest in our own players and really build top players of our own, and hopefully if we keep performing well, then our youngsters won't really ask to leave anymore. Obviously this isn't everyone that we've got. I'll actually show you all positions, all sides. We do have youngsters that can become serious talents. I say anyone around here could do seriously well for our team. But anyways, yep, disappointing point, because we did dominate, and hopefully we will be able to beat more teams like that. This is actually our first draw of the season in the Primiera Liga, at least, and it's cost us the actually catching up to Porto in terms of points, if not at least going above them. But yeah, we still do have a chance to actually get into second, so it's not the end of the world. Let's check out what the rules are. So continental qualification, top 2 teams go straight into group stage, so we need to do that. We need to avoid this and picking up teams who are quite difficult in this. We really don't want a poor draw. We want to get into the group stage. If we lose all 6 games, it's fine, we still get plenty of money. If we somehow get into round of 16, that'll be incredible. We can get more money, and the further and the better we do, the more likely we can invest in our own squad. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for today's episode. We're always back for 5 games time, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully by the time we're back, we'll be showing you our game against our rivals, but we'll also be in the Taça de Portugal semi-final. That'll be great for us. And then after that, that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should be showing you the game against Krasnodar in the Europa Cup first knockout round, leg 2, and hopefully by then we already would have the perfect result to just kind of beat them easily at home and qualify for the second knockout round, and that way we can eventually move into the semi-finals. But anyways, I think that will be all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then of course please do hit the like button and subscribe for more daily Football Manager 2017 content. And as always guys, thank you all very much for watching.